Okay, so let's try number 2 together. So number 2 says 380 is less than negative 20x. So for this one, you're always trying to get the x by itself on one of the sides, either the right side like it is now or on the left side. So what I want to do is I want to get the x by itself on this side. That means I've got to get rid of this negative 20. How can I do that? Yeah, we're going to divide both sides by negative 20. So I'm going to divide the right side by negative 20 and the left side by negative 20. So what's going to happen is on the right side, these negative 20s are going to cancel each other out. And I'm only left with x on that side. So I'm going to bring that down. You will flip the inequality sign because you're dividing by a negative 20. So instead of having a less than, you're going to have a greater than symbol. But that's only if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number. Okay, so on the other side, you have 380 divided by negative 20. What would that be? Yep, negative 19. So right now, I have negative 19 is greater than x. Now, if I want to take the x and put it on the left side, I can do that. But in the process, I'm going to have to flip the inequality sign again. Because notice, it's pointing at the x right now. It's pointing at the x. So if I was to take the x and put it on the left side and take the negative 19, put it on the right side, I would have to flip the inequality symbol so it's still pointing at the x. So I get x is less than negative 19. That's going to be my answer. So we had to flip it twice. That's because we divided by negative 20. We needed to flip it for that. But also, we wanted to change the order of where the x is and where the number is. And when you do that, you have to flip the sign as well. So there are 2 things that you're going to do for every question. You're going to write down the solution set. In this case, you're just going to have an x, a vertical line, and x is less than negative 19. And then I'm going to close it up. So what this means is you're looking at all the real numbers x such that x is less than negative 19.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
So like when we're doing this test, do you need us, because you said we're done right there, but do you need us to do a line?
Yes. Yep, for every single question. So the line is going to have arrows at both ends like this. And you're going to take the number that you got for your answer and put it in the middle. So for this one, it's negative 19. So I've got to put that in the middle. But then on the left side, you're going to have numbers that are less than negative 19, like negative 20, negative 21. So as you keep on going to the left, you get more and more negative. But if you're going to the right, you get more and more positive. So numbers that are bigger than negative 19, like negative 18, negative 17, they're going to go on the right side. So that's the way I do my number line. And then I'm going to have to shade it in a certain direction. So let me go ahead and change my color to yellow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an open circle around the negative 19, just like that. I'm not going to shade it in because I want it to be open this time, because I have a less than symbol. And now I need to shade to the left because the inequality symbol is pointing to the left. That's going to pick up all the numbers that are less than negative 19. And then I shade my arrow. So what this graph tells you is negative 19 is not a part of the solution set. That's why I have an open circle around it. But negative 20 and negative 21, those do belong in the solution set because they get shaded. So for each question, you're going to have a solution set. That's this thing right here. And then you're going to have a number line. And only real numbers can be on the number line. Okay, we're going to skip down to number 8 because that one involves combining like terms. So let's do number 8 together. I've got -7 times n, -7n, minus n is less than -8. Yeah, we're skipping down to number 8, but you'll do the rest later. So I've got -7n and I've got -n. You can think about this as having a 1 out in front since there's no number there technically. Yeah, if you put them together. So see how these both end with a variable n? That means they're like terms, and you can put them together by adding them or subtracting them. -7 minus 1 is -8. And then I put the n after that. So we combine the like terms on the left side, but on the right side, everything stays the same for now. So I've still got the less than symbol and the -8. So now there's one more thing that I have left to do, and what is that? Yeah, I need to divide both sides by -8, and that's going to get rid of the -8. So I'm only left with an n on the left side. But remember, I got to do it to both sides. Okay, so what that's going to do is the -8s are going to cancel out, so I can cross through these, and then the n is going to come down. Now, since I'm dividing by a -8, I need to flip this sign, right? It's a less than right now, but if I flip it around, it's going to be a greater than. And then what's -8 divided by -8? 1. Yep. So n is greater than 1. That's my answer, or my solution. My solution set is going to be all the real numbers n, such that that real number n is greater than 1. That means that any number that's bigger than 1 is going to solve this inequality. So let's do the number line now. I'm going to draw my line, put arrows at both ends, and I'm going to take the answer that I found and put it in the middle. So right here in the middle of the line, I'm going to have a +1. And then I can put numbers that are less than 1 on the left-hand side. So I can put 0, -1. That's good enough for now. But then numbers that are bigger than 1, like 2 and 3, they're going to go on the right side. So I get more and more positive as I move to the right. Okay. So now I'm going to change back to yellow. I'm going to put an open circle around the 1. And I'm going to shade to the right this time because I have a greater than symbol. And it's pointing to the right, so you might as well shade to the right. And that's my answer. So what this number line tells you is 1 is not a part of the solution set because it has an open circle around it. If it was a closed circle, it would actually be included, but it's not. But then every number that's bigger than 1, like 2, 3, 4, they're going to belong inside the solution set. Okay, so that's number 8. The next one we're going to do, number 12. So let's try 12. This one says 7. And then in parentheses, I'm going to have a 6p plus 8. And then all that is going to be less than or equal to negative 196. So this is a multi-step inequality because you're going to have more than one step to solve it. Now, there's two things that I can do. The first thing that I could do is I could take that 7 and multiply it by everything on the inside. So I would have to multiply the 7 by the 6p, and I would have to multiply it by the 8. And that's called the distributive property. You can do it that way and get the right answer. Another way you can do this is you can divide both sides by 7, which is what I'm going to do. Because right now, everything on the inside is being multiplied by 7. But if I wanted to choose the opposite of multiplying, I would divide both sides by 7. But either way you do it, you're going to get the same answer if you do your math right. So I'm dividing both sides by 7, and what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of the 7s right here on the left side. So I can cross those out. And then since I'm dividing by a positive number, I don't need to change the sign. So the sign is going to stay the same. I'm going to bring down the 6p plus 8. And then on the other side over here, what'd you get for this? Negative 28. Yeah. Okay, so now to get the variable by itself, I got to do two things. I've got to get rid of this plus 8. How can I do that?
Subtract.
Yeah. We're going to subtract 8 from both sides. And what that's going to do is it's going to cause the 8s to get crossed out like that. And I'm only left with the 6 times p now. So I bring that down. Keep the sign the same, less than or equal to. And then on the other side, once I put these two numbers together by subtracting them, I'm going to have negative 36. So that's what I got at this point. And now the only thing I have left to do is get rid of that 6 that's out in front. So how can I do that? You're going to divide both sides by 6. That's right. So then the 6 are going to cancel out like that. I bring down the variable p, the less than or equal to, because I don't need to switch the sign. And then negative 36 divided by 6 is going to give you negative 6. And that's my answer. Okay, so let's do the solution sets. I'll do it in blue. So I'm going to use the variable p. You're going to draw yourself a vertical line. And then you're going to put the answer on the other side. So p is less than or equal to negative 6. And then I'm going to close it up. That's my solution set. Now the number line is a little bit different. You're going to put arrows at both ends like that. And I'm going to take the answer that I just got, that negative 6, and I'm going to put it in the middle. Numbers that are less than that, like negative 7, I put over here. Numbers that are bigger than negative 6, like negative 5, I'll put that on the right side. Okay, now to shade the number line, am I going to use a closed dot or an open dot?
Close.
Yeah, it's going to be closed. Yep. Now the reason why it's closed is because I have that less than or equal to. That little line underneath the less than is going to tell me that I should color inside the dot. So I'm going to color the dot. That means that -6 is actually going to be included in my answer. And then I shade to the left, to the left. So what this number line is telling you is not only is -6 an answer, but also any number that's less than that can be an answer. Like -7, -8, -1,000,000, right? They all satisfy the inequality. And now the last one we're going to do together is 18. Now 18 is going to be the most complicated one, I think. And the reason why is because you have variables on both sides you need to deal with. So 18 says 8. Next to it in parentheses, you're going to have 3x plus 6. And I'm going to close that up. And that's going to be less than 4x plus 28. Okay, so I can start this off two different ways. I can distribute. That means I'm going to take the 8 and multiply it by everything on the inside right here. I could do that. Another thing I can do, and I don't recommend doing it this way, but this actually works. You can divide both sides by 8. But because I have a variable over here, I'm going to get a bunch of fractions. That's going to make it more complicated. So instead, this time, we're going to do the distributive property on the left side. So what's 8 times 3x? Yeah, 24x. And then what's 8 times 6? 48. But everything else is still the same. So I've still got the 4x and the 28 on the right side. Okay, so now as you can see, I have x's on both sides. I want to get all the x's on the left side. So to do that, I need to get rid of it from the right side, which means I need to subtract 4x. And I'm going to do that on both sides of the inequality symbol. So what that's going to do is it's going to cause these 4x's to cancel out, leaving me only with a 28. But then on this side, I have 24x minus 4x. What would that be? 20x, yep. And then I have to bring down the plus 48. So now I've got all the x's on the left side. Now I want to get all the regular numbers and put them on the right side. How can I do that? Yep. I'm going to subtract 48 from both sides. And that does not change the inequality symbol. So we still have a less than. Yep, -20. And they cancel out over here. Okay, so the last thing that I need to do to get the x by itself is to divide both sides by +20. And I'm going to do that here and over here. So then the 20s are going to cancel out. I can bring down my x. The sign does not flip, so I'm going to keep it the same. So it's a less than. I'm only dividing by a positive 20, so it doesn't have to flip. And then negative 20 divided by positive 20 is negative 1. And I'm done. That's going to be my answer. So then I'm going to do the solution sets up here. And then the line is going to be down here. Go ahead and put you an open circle around the negative 1 and shade to the left. Because you got a less than symbol. So every number that's less than negative 1 is going to solve the inequality.